This is Ember Souls by the developers Virtual Age Games, and it was released on the 24th of November 2024. About the game. It's a simple story but set in a beautiful environment. Face enemies, climb, swim, solve puzzles and find coins, search everywhere and anywhere. You are trying to gather all of the earth stones, wind, water, fire and earth. You are aided by an eagle that talks. He will guide you through the game and you can call on him whenever you need his eyes. Game menus. Menus are clean and easy to view, offering settings for controls, games, graphics, difficulty, combat and body. You also have body representation where you can have arms and hands or just hands, then left or right handed. The in-game menus are easy to understand also. There's a weapons board to select weapons from the left side, back and right side and then a helmet. Then other skill points board to select which skills you will upgrade. Levels and size. It's big in terms of wandering around and all the rooms that are there, just how you expect a palace to be, but bigger. It would certainly take you a very long time to learn the layout of this place. Controls. Controls are well thought out, but may take some time to get used to. You'll be using all the buttons on a regular basis, including the X, Y, A and B buttons. Mechanics. Most of the time mechanics are great, but I found reaching for my sidearms a little tricky most of the time, meaning that I couldn't just reach down and get my weapon. I'd always have to look down at my side to find where my weapon was. Then also at times when jumping, it would suddenly pull out my sidearms as I'd go to grab onto whatever it was I was jumping to. But then of course, with hands both full of weapons, I just fall to my death. I'm also not keen on how some enemies just spawning out of nowhere. Swimming also needs to be looked at. When I'm trying to push myself under the water to get to the bottom to grab a chest, I keep grabbing my sidearms. And also, you can't seem to float your head on the surface of the water. It's just weird and it needs fixing. But the stone powers are quite well done and it's a lot of fun using these powers. They are not perfect and can do with some improvement, but they do make the game a lot more enjoyable. The bugs I encountered at times were quite frustrating when not all enemies were spawned in, so I was left wasting time trying to figure out what to do next, whereas I needed to kill all the enemies for a door to open or something to move on. So after 15 minutes I would restart the game out of frustration and then it would work. And also on occasion my game would not load up from the menu after clicking continue game. Weapons. There's a good amount of weapons, from a dagger to swords, bow and arrows, axes, maces, hammers, shields and a long pointy stabby thing. And then there are 3 slots you can have these weapons on, the left side, on your back and the right side. Then there's also helmets, but I'd like to see way more choices in the helmets. Leveling up options. So as you fight, you earn XP. As you earn XP, a bar will go up. When you fill that bar, you will earn an XP point. You can then use these points to either upgrade your stones or your abilities like agility, health, energy or focus. Then there's collecting coins, and with these coins you can buy better weapons. Enemies and bosses. Now what I will suggest is that in the settings menu under combat, tick the box for extra aggressive enemies for a more challenging game. I set my game on medium setting, which is warrior, and 3 hours in I was finding combat really boring, but this will really depend on how each player likes to play their game. The bigger bosses were always fun, a bit of a challenge but not impossible. Puzzles. Some of the puzzles were too simple. I mean, you don't want anything frustratingly difficult, and then there were others where just luck come into it. Some required a little bit of thought process, but after a while you start to realise that the 3 buttons puzzles that you just have to push in certain order, you can just guess until you hit the right combination. Then there's jumping and climbing. These can be quite tricky at times, and you may find yourself falling to your death a lot. My thoughts. I keep hearing this game compared to the Prince of Persia, but I've never played that, so I cannot make that comparison. But I will say that I think it's like a combination of Tomb Raider and Eye of the Temple. The story is average, nothing really exciting about it. The voiceover work feels average most of the time. It just didn't sell it for me. I think I would like to have seen more enemies wandering about instead of just seeing one or two every so often, and then occasionally you hit a room where 12 of them will come at you. Something about that feels a little too structured and predictable. I did enjoy the puzzles and the climbing parts, but maybe there's just too much climbing and jumping. I don't think they got the balance quite right there. I would also like to have seen stats on each weapon in the weapons menu, so it helps you decide better on what to save your precious coins on to buy. I'd also like to see the inventory menu moved. I can't tell you how many times I accidentally bring up my inventory trying to reach for my weapons or something else, so maybe have a watch that you can just tap or something. Anyway, this game is good fun. I can't help feel that there are some things missing from it though to make it a brilliant game, but there are flashes of greatness in here. So overall, I mark Ember Souls an 8.8 stars. Now please hit that like button if you found my video helpful. Also leave your thoughts on this game in the comments below. Then please come be part of this community and hit subscribe. Let's all support one another in our gaming experiences. Thanks guys, and happy gaming.